So if you're new here, welcome. We do have some new people in the group. Welcome, welcome. My name is Erin McGuire. I'm an empowerment coach and healer. And today I just wanted to pop on and kind of chat about the energy in the cosmos right now because literally everybody that I've talked to, hi Terry, everybody that I've talked to client wise and friend wise are telling me they're feeling really tired and being really hard on themselves. So I have some things to share about that. So last night I taught a summer solstice, full moon yoga class and a release ceremony. I do these twice a month now. So if you ever want to hop in, do some yoga, we do this at the full moon and the new moon on Tuesdays. So sometimes we're a little bit before the new or full moon. And it's at 7:30 Central Time PM. And it's just a time to really connect with the energy that's happening around that full or new moon and to utilize it for your good. So, full moons are about releasing what we no longer need. And so, that's kind of the pattern that we're in for this week. We just had the big summer solstice, which is a whole other kind of energy portal that we can access. And we also are coming out of Mercury retrograde. So a lot of kind of endings are happening. And that's what the common thing I'm hearing, and just that people are being really hard on themselves. And so I really just want to speak to that today because as I was ending that class last night, I just kind of tuned in and some really beautiful messages came through for the group. So I want to share one of those with you all here today. And that is there's really no reason to be hard on yourself. So let's back that up one step and just say the reason maybe that you are hard on yourself is because it was a learned pattern. So I talk a lot about this in all the different work that I do. A lot of my work revolves around psychology and understanding our patterns and programs and why we do the things that we do. And it's because it's learned. We learned it from our parents, they probably learned it from their parents, and so on and so on and so on. All this stuff just gets passed down generationally. And the good news is it can stop with you once you start healing it and doing your own inner work. None of that's very fun, of course, because it requires us to look at some things that may be slightly painful or a lot painful, but the only way out is through. So once you start doing your inner work and your healing work, inner child work, shadow work, all the good stuff, you begin to heal those old patterns. And then they can't be passed down to your children. And so it kind of just stops with you. I shared this with the group last night that, by the way, you can get that replay. I forgot to mention that. I was going to mention that. If you want the replay of the summer solstice full moon yoga class, I will leave the link to get that below. You'll basically just sign up for the class and then I'll send you the replay link. And the full moon is actually tomorrow, so we're a little bit ahead of the game. So again, emotions are even higher. If you're here and you're watching, just say hello. Thank you for being here live with me. I love having you all here. Back to what I was saying. So I have to think about it for a second. I know there was the message I want to share with you that came through last night. Let's just talk back about being hard on yourself. Okay? Give me a high five or type a number 1 if you are going through that right now. Are you being really hard on yourself? Are you beating yourself up more than usual? Are you doubting yourself more? Just give me a number 1 if that's you. Hi, Shannon. Thanks for being. So that's the word on the street. That's what I'm hearing from people. Hi, Lucretia. Thanks for being here. That is what I'm hearing from people, is that we're being a little bit harder on ourselves. Or maybe that's something you kind of always do, but you're just noticing it more right now. Just know that, oh, there's Ariel. Hi, Ariel. She says, yes, that's happening to her. Shannon says yes, and low energy. Yeah. So, yep, that's the other thing I'm hearing. So, Shannon, ding, ding, ding. That's like literally everybody on the call last night said they were super tired and really feeling this being hard on themselves. Terry says she's being hard on herself too. Yeah. I have not, normally I feel what the collective is feeling. Surprisingly, I'm not being hard on myself lately. I think it's because I'm really just like kind of taking time off of work here and there. I'm doing more hiking. I'm doing more self-care than I normally get to do. I always do some, but I'm like packing it on big time. And that's obviously really helpful. So here's the message that came through for the ladies that were on the summer solstice yoga class call last night. Again, if you want that link, just give me a thumbs up or a smiley face, and I'm going to leave a link below to get that. And it was that there is no reason to be hard on yourself. Okay? What I was saying earlier is the reason you are is because it was learned. It was learned from parents. It was learned from society or whoever you were around, grandparents. It doesn't matter. It's a learned thing. And what I always tell people is that whatever is coming up for you, especially in these intense cosmic times like full moons, new moons, summer solstices, eclipse, anytime there's a thing coming up, so we have a full moon tomorrow, that thing that's coming up for you is coming up so it can be healed. What we do most of the time is we say, I don't want to look at that, and we pick whatever addiction we personally love, right? We pick our scrolling through Facebook. Some of us drink alcohol. Some of us smoke cigarettes. Whatever your addiction is, we just say, I'll do anything but look at that feeling. And what I'm suggesting that you do is that you go into it. So if you're being really hard on yourself right now, instead of being hard on yourself for being hard on yourself, who can relate to that? We're beating ourselves up because we're beating ourselves up and we know better. Then I would suggest to look at that. Make some journaling around that this week. Why do I feel the need to be hard on myself? Where did that come from? Who did I learn that from? Who did I watch as a young child, as a young girl, being hard on themselves? And because we are that absorbent as children. We're little sponges. We absorb everything we see. And so we learn that and we think that's how I operate in the world, is I'm hard on myself and then I accomplish things. That's a belief that some people hold. If I'm not hard on myself, I won't achieve. And that's another bullshit lie. So instead, what I'd like you to do, so number one, journal this week, journal around that. Who did I learn this from? Who did I watch being hard on themselves, being critical on themselves? And then secondly, to the message that came through for the ladies last night was to just say, tomorrow's a new day. What's one thing, not 10 things, not 20 things, because this is what we do. We're like, tomorrow I'm going to start the new diet. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do 10 things that I haven't been doing for months. I want you to pick one thing. What's one thing tomorrow that I could do differently than I did today? Isn't that so much lighter? Isn't that so much easier than I have all these things I need to work on and I'm beating myself up about all this stuff? And I have a client that reached out to me and she's like, I'm going through a really tough time. My anxiety is high and I'm reverting back to old habits like smoking cigarettes and scrolling through Facebook and doing these things that she doesn't really want to be doing and doing less of the stuff that she knows is good for her. So we all know, and she's like, well, why do I do that? We all know the tools that help us. We all know the things that help us feel better. Why then do we not do them, especially when we need them the most? And, it could be for many different reasons that happens. Just so much resistance comes up and it's hard to push through that, or you're just falling back into old patterns. It doesn't matter. So, what I told her and what I told this group is that what can I do tomorrow that, like, what's one thing I want to take away? So maybe if you've gotten back into, this is an example, right? If you've started smoking again, tomorrow can you try to cut back again or stop completely? Instead of like, tomorrow I'm going to work out, I'm going to do yoga for an hour, I'm going to stop smoking, and I'm going to read 1 hour of a spiritual text, right? That's not doable. We want to focus on what can I do tomorrow? Tomorrow's a new day. Nice. She's tired. She's packing, Mary says, and will I find a place soon, and will it be connected with the man I love? Very interesting, Mary. Well, we'll see what comes through for the cards later. Yeah, so what is that one thing you can do tomorrow? I want you to type that in the comment section, because here's the thing, y'all. If we want to be consistent, if we want to grow, if we want to, for instance, stop being hard on ourselves, if that's the goal right now, which I think that's a hell of a good goal to have. If you are catching yourself being really hard on yourself, think about this. Would you say the things to a little child, your own child, or your niece or nephew, or your best friend's kid that you say to yourself? Probably not, right? So when you're saying those awful things, when you're being hard on yourself, you're doing that to the little girl inside of you. You really got to think about that. You're doing that to the little girl inside of you. And that's not cool. We all do it, so let's not beat ourselves up about being hard on our little girl. But again, it's like, what is a change I can make today or tomorrow that, excuse me, that can affect my life in a positive way? So I want to hear what that change is below, because if you don't announce it, if you don't claim it, if you don't state it out loud to people here in this group, just being vulnerable and being honest, then the chances of you actually making the change are probably lower than somebody who's like, you know what, I'm going to stop doing this tomorrow because I cannot go on this way. Now, does that mean if you make that claim that you're going to stop being hard on yourself and that's never going to happen again? Probably not, because it's a habit at this point. You've created a habit around being hard on yourself. And so we need to create a new habit of self-love, of self-understanding, of acceptance. So I want to hear what everybody's thing is. What are you gonna shift? What are you gonna shift? I want to see it in the comment section. Let's think about one thing I'm gonna shift. Well, if you decide to register for my class that was last night and get the replay, we make a little list of all the things we're ready to let go of, and then we're going to burn it. Okay, so that can be something that you put on that list. Nobody's sharing. I don't know if you're afraid to share, afraid to own that you're doing that, but just know that you're not alone. Okay, so that we're all in that soup to some degree or another. I shared with a friend just now, so I also had a friend who was messaging me that she's kind of beating herself up because she feels like she's doing a bad job at work. And I said, I read something last week that said, never compare yourself to anyone else. The only person you should compare, I use the word should, I don't like that word. The only person to compare yourself to is your past self. Isn't that so beautiful? The only person to compare yourself to is your past self. Look at your past self, even your past self from 6 months ago, even your past self from a year ago, or 5 or 10 years ago, and look how far you've come. Am I afraid to be seen? This is your soul talk card. Am I afraid to be seen? Ooh, who's feeling that? Who is feeling a little bit of fear of being seen? So I don't know where Mary went. I don't know if Mary is still there or not, here or not, but I feel like this kind of message is coming through, for that situation that you're in. The world doesn't want you to hold back any longer. Time to shine your unique light on the world. You were made from love, and from love you are whole. There is no more hiding, there is no more shame, there is only truth. Live naked and free. Today's soul action. What parts of me do I hide so I can be socially accepted and fit in? Ooh. Am I being authentic? Do I allow myself to be all of me? What do I need to feel so I can be safe to be seen? Journal your answers. Hey, Alicia. Oh my gosh, you just popped into my brain. So I must have just known that you were coming. You literally just popped into my brain. We were just talking about this card. It's worth reading again. So just because Alicia popped on, we're going to read this again. Am I afraid to be seen? Interesting that you popped on right at this part. I think we all have this to some degree or another, right? Especially as women. Especially, I'm talking a lot about this in my upcoming book. First draft is done. It's getting there, you guys. I'm so excited. Just these societal views, and it's going to be on the podcast here soon too. I just made a podcast about it. I forget what I do. I do so many things, I forget. If you're not listening to the podcast, it's The Art of Unraveling, anywhere podcasts are available. It's another one of my favorite things. I'm just smiling thinking about it because it's so much fun. It's time to stop holding back. And I think this message ties back, both of these tie back to what we talked about at the beginning, about being hard on yourself. That's part of how you're holding yourself back. So again, what's one small thing, one small change you can make starting tomorrow to allow yourself to be seen more, to allow yourself to be more authentic, to allow yourself to be all of you? Why are you holding back? Why are you holding back from being all of you? I know that this resonates for me. I could sit here and explain why all day long, right? There's a fear of being socially unaccepted. So this is saying, what parts of me do I hide so I can be socially accepted and fit in? There's a fear that we're going to be the weird ones, that the ones that are out there, the weirdo people. And you're not for everybody. None of us is for everybody. But as women, we struggle with this one more than men. You know, this I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be unaccepted. I need everybody to like me. Those are also good things to journal about. Why? What's it going to hurt if some people don't like you? They already do now, right? There's already people in the world that don't like you. Why can't we just accept that's okay? I don't need those people, right? I need a small inner circle. I don't need a ton of people in my life. Alicia's this perfect card. Awesome. So I will take pictures of both of these. The back of this has the journal questions. I'll make sure to take a picture of that. And don't forget to leave any comments or questions in the comment section. I'm going to leave you my 40 Days of Radical Self-Love. That's a great one if you're really stuck in patterns of being hard on yourself. It's one small action every single day to rewire you for self-love.